This is a video from friend of the channel, Gothic Therapy. Master of the TDS was in the chat earlier. I don't know if they're still here. It is late, but this is called Exclusive. Wings and SBI led us to $3.8 million in French government grants. And when they go through this information, it's going to blow your mind. I watched this as soon as it dropped today, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
Exposed Wings Interactive, I thought we'd uncovered one small scheme. Some shady funding, a fake mission, and a few bad actors hiding behind good PR. But the more I looked, the more names I recognized. Studios you've never heard of, getting funded again and again. Games with no players, companies with no teams. Yet somehow, they kept getting grants. So I did what I always do. I followed the trail. Every name, every project, every payout. And at the end of that trail wasn't just a person, it was the French government.
So this is wild because they discover a connection between a group of people running an organization having ties with the French government that is directly funneling citizen tax dollars into creating games. And then these people on this foundation are deciding how to dispense that income, or that money, that tax revenue. And well, wouldn't you know it, more often than not, they're paying themselves and their own companies. Interesting how that works.
Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS,
Basically,
and I'm joined by my lovely wife.
Writing Raven.
Welcome back to Gothic Therapy. We've already exposed Wings Interactive as a front for Landfall Games, but today we're going deeper, because this wasn't just one shady company, this was a part of something much bigger, something baked into the system itself.
And since YouTube probably isn't thrilled about us unraveling it, join the night shift by hitting that like and subscribe button. Let's keep shining a light where they'd
throwing their channel in the chat right now. Thank you, B-Man. You rock.
Rather we didn't.
Seriously,
you're gonna want Gothic Therapy. They are a very high quality up and coming channel. They're doing great.
Want to see where this one leads. All right, quick recap for anybody new here. Wings Interactive claimed to be an indie fund helping diverse developers get their games off the ground.
I've never
but
met
as
them
we
in person,
uncovered,
Tiger King.
They were secretly a front for Landfall Games, sharing offices, staff, and finances, all while pretending to be completely independent.
Yep.
And let's not forget Sweet Bowser Inc. Sorry, Sweet Baby Inc., whose CEO, Kim Belair, just happened to sit on Wings' board. Guess Bowser's not the only questionable character she's into.
Wings wasn't.
So these people, the only purpose it serves to sit on these boards is to funnel money into their own organizations. It's a racket, like straight up laundering money into their own companies for shitty games that no one ever plays, that are paid for before they even come out, and they don't even care if they sell.
Just shady. It was a part of an entire network manipulating indie studios behind the scenes. And when we exposed that, they panicked, scrubbing their social media, wiping their website, erasing staff, board members, and even the games themselves.
This was
like they were
within hours of them posting a video. It was wild how fast Wings deleted everything.
We're never there at all.
And I'll be honest, I was convinced they were getting government funding. Everything about their setup screamed it. But they had done such a good job covering their tracks, I couldn't confirm it. No records, no links, no smoking gun.
Yeah, it felt like a dead end. Until it didn't.
Because Wings may have disappeared, but the money trail didn't.
It led us to the people who help decide where the money goes.
Before we start naming names, let's talk about how the money actually flows.
Government grants, right? I mean, every country has some version of that for the arts.
Like, this is the problem, by the way, when you tax the population too much, the government has a surplus in funding and they don't know what to do with it. So then they start giving it out to their buddies, organizations that they're friendly with, and they pass all these laws to say, oh, this money can go here, this can go here, and just start throwing it at things where there's no reason whatsoever where money should be given. and instead just say, hey, maybe just not tax the people as much as you're taxing them. How about that?
Right. But in France, that money comes from the CNC, the National Center for Cinema and the Moving Image. They fund film, animation, and yes, video games. And we're not talking pocket change.
How much are we talking?
Millions every year. Some games get 30,000 euros, others 200,000 euros or more.
Okay, but who actually decides which projects get the money?
That's where the SNJV comes in, the Syndicate National du Video. Basically, the National Video Game Board. They represent the industry and work directly with the CNC on funding decisions, outreach, and policy.
Like a union and a lobby group had a baby?
Exactly. And their board is made up of studio heads, people with studios that in
Matthew GDS is in the chat. He says, this video took so much work to make. I'm not even joking. Dude, when I first watched this today, I could only imagine how much effort went into this. Like, it is, especially when it starts picking up, I'm like, damn, you guys went deep on every single person.
many cases have received a lot of government grants.
So, game devs are helping decide which other game devs get money. And sometimes they're deciding on themselves.
And that's the question. Where does industry leadership end and self-dealing begin?
And that brings us to our first spotlight.
Someone you might already recognize. Let's start with the most obvious thread. Audrey Leprince.
Oh, Writing Raven
You
here
might
too.
know
What's up,
her
Writing
as
Raven?
the co-founder of the Game Bakers, but she also co-founded Women in Games France, and of course, she was one of the main people behind Wings Interactive.
Now, I remember Audrey from the first video you covered, and super sketch.
And while she was pitching Wings as this beacon of diversity, she was also quietly sitting on the FNJV board, starting in 2020.
Okay, so before she joined the board, had she already gotten money from the CNC?
5 separate grants, some under the Game Bakers, and one under Sunshine Lab.
40,000, 150,000, just free money, untaxed free money, granted, just given, just to make this game. For what game is it? Oh, Duels. Hey, everyone in the chat, remember that game Duels everyone played? Anyone? No? No one?
Which is basically just an earlier label for the same team. And we're talking hundreds of thousands in government money.
And after she joined?
2 more for her game Cairn, plus 3 more grants for Women in Games France, the organization she co-founded and still supports just for appearing at Paris Games Week.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like an amazing grift. If you're on that side of things, you're untouchable. Who's going to stop it? Who can stop it? Where's Batman when you need him?
10 grants total, and half of those were awarded while she was on the board that helps decide where the money goes.
Exactly. She may have recused herself from those decisions.
Doge?
She might have followed the letter of
They're out of the reach of Doge. They're over in France.
the law.
It's
But when the
wealth
same
fair.
names
Wealth fair. I love that one, David. That's a good one. Wealth fair.
keep coming up again and again, it stops feeling like a coincidence.
And this is just the first person.
Oh yeah, buckle up. Next up is Marine Freeland, CEO of Piece of Cake Studios and a current member of the FNJV board. Before she ever joined the board, she got a grant in 2016 for a game called Hack Tag. But once she joined the board in 2020, things didn't exactly slow down.
How many more are we talking?
So it's wealth money. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that one too.
3 more. Crossroads in 2021, and then 2 rounds of funding for Fantastic Haven in 2023 and 2024. That's a pre-production grant followed by a full production grant.
Yeah.
And again, maybe she followed all the rules, but that's 4 grants total, 3 during her tenure.
Now let's talk about Hervé Salm, the COO of Old Skull Games. Unlike others, his LinkedIn doesn't list when he joined the board, so the exact overlap is tricky to pin down.
But his company definitely didn't shy away from the CNC funding buffet.
Mhm.
Not even close. Old School Games received 6 CNC grants over the years. 5.
I mean, this stuff, man, if this doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what does. Like, just hearing this just fires me up, bro. And all these people, they're all the ones that are so intent on projecting against you that when you start calling them out, they're going to start attacking you proactively to shut you down because they got a good thing going and they don't want you to fuck it up.
We know were before or possibly during his tenure, and one that was undeniably awarded in December 2024 while he was confirmed to still be on the board.
Wow.
And that last one was for something called Cryptical Path, right? Sounds like
That exactly mastered the TDS, and yet we are the grifters, don't you know? Isn't it funny? Like when you're covering topics or you're exposing stuff, people are like, "Oh, you're just doing that for clicks and attention." It's like, bro, do you not even listen to what we're talking about? Like this is actually what the people we're talking about are way worse than what you're accusing us of. Okay, let's be clear here.
a metaphor for all of this. And again, maybe it's legit. Maybe there's no
Your
direct
infinite money
conflict.
hack has been
The
busted
problem
wide
is
open.
we're only halfway through the board. Next is David Rabineau, CEO of Homo Ludens. He joined in October 2020, initially as a VP of International and European Affairs.
Let me guess. He got a grant after joining the board?
Not one, 2. One in 2021 for a project called Sinatra, and another in 2024 for a game called Kate. But
This is just like fake
here's
games. Kate? How much money was Kate? Hold on. 100,000, what is that, dollars, I assume? For a game called Kate? $100,000? Why? Who's approving this shit? Why is this happening?
24 for a game called
Euros?
Kate.
I mean, not that it matters. It's still, either way, it's a lot of money, but Jesus.
But here's the key detail. He didn't receive any CNC grants at all until after he was already on the board.
That's
Oh, so it's even more in USD. 115,000 USD, says Mr. Blade. It's even more than USD.
not subtle.
This isn't someone with a history of getting grants who later joined the board. This is someone who started benefiting from the system after gaining
Sacred Power says, but is there any way to put a stop to this? Honestly, the only way that historically has worked is doing exactly what Master of the TDS is doing here and Writing Raven. Sorry, both of you guys. And I guess just getting the word out there, like what I'm doing and what other people, if they cover this, and then getting people talking about it and over in France specifically, writing to their senators or whatever the hell they have in France, their lawmakers, and saying, hey, who's approving this stuff? How'd you get voted in there? Because we don't agree with this. It's crazy how much money is getting approved. Crazy. Like it's like the internet superhighway of cash flowing. It's crazy how much money is getting sent to these quote unquote game companies.
influence inside it.
Which raises the question, how many others only started getting funded once they were in the room?
And how many didn't get funding because they weren't? Now let's take a look at Benjamin Charbit, CEO of Darewise Entertainment, and a longtime member of the SNJV board. He's been involved since at least 2014.
So he was part of the system for a long time. What about grants?
He received one in 2017 for a project called Corvus, and yes, he was already serving on the board at the time.
And even if he wasn't directly involved in that decision, it still doesn't look great, especially given the pattern we're starting to see.
Exactly, because now we've got multiple board members, all with ties to studios, receiving government grants during their time in power.
Now let's talk about Levan Sardyeveladze.
The CEO of
That's a
Celsius
mouthful.
Online.
Wait, wasn't he like president of the SNJV for a while?
Yep, vice president from 2014 to
What?
2016, and then president from 2016 to 2023. Now he's the first VP of Public Affairs. Basically, he's been on that board longer than some studios have existed.
So I'm guessing he's gotten a few grants in that time?
Actually, two. One before he joined and one after. In 2011, Celsius Online got 146,000 euros.
For a game called what, 14? Or a game called Celsius Online? Like what even are these games? We're getting into the $250,000 territory with these kind of euros. Holy
For
crap.
a project called Hegel, Reason and History. And in 2017, right in the middle of his presidency, they got another for 100,000 euros for a game called Return to the Kingdom.
Wow, how convenient. While he's president and on the board, granting himself the money. But how convenient. What could possibly go wrong? Totally a fair and just system they have going on over there.
So, grant during his presidency confirmed. Next up is Anne de Vassaux.
Currently, the president of the FN.
I'm telling you, these people are straight up evil people, man. Like straight up. To
Called Return to the Kingdom.
go out there.
So,
with a
grant
straight
during
face.
his presidency confirmed. Next up is Anne de Vassaux.
Like putting this out there on LinkedIn with a straight face, knowing that you are straight up stealing government money for your quote unquote game that is literally no one is playing or cares about. How can you go to sleep every night? It's probably easy, actually. Free money, not doing a damn thing about it. It's amazing. It's amazing. And these are the people that are completely destroying the game industry and want gamers to get out of it. Think about that for a second.
So,
Currently, the president of the SNJV and a board member since 2014. She was a vice chair from 2014 to 2023 and took over as president in 2023. And before that, her studio Spiders received a CNC grant in
Matt Stanford says it's amazing how well you can sleep when you have no morals. Good point.
2011 for a game called Stains of Time.
so she got her money before joining the board.
And she's not just a board member. She's a co-founder of Women in Games France, alongside
Oh.
Audrey Leprince.
Oh, Women in Games France. That doesn't sound like a grifting organization at all. Sounds totally legit. Women in Games. I should open up a Women in Games in San Diego. I'll be the president of it. Because, I mean, why not? I'll talk to my wife, see if she wants to be on the board. Hell, maybe we'll even make a game someday, but I can't promise you that. We'll just get some government money.
Which means the same inner circle keeps popping up again and again.
Finally, let's look
Blair says, we're not making Game Smash, we're making money.
at Stéphane Bonazza.
Senior VP at Shiro Games, Stéphane is one of only two board members, the other being
But
Anne,
here's the thing,
who
by the
got
way,
a
because I know how hard it is to make $1. It's a lot of work. And when you see people out there just being like, oh, I'm buddy with this person, and we're just straight up stealing tax money in the form of a grant for doing jack shit except for milking the system, oiling and greasing the wheels, and being buddy, being on the president, being the directors of the board, and pulling it from one account and putting it into your own account and saying, I approve of this, and not doing a damn thing, not working, not actually putting effort into anything, just straight up stealing tax money. And the reason why it keeps happening is because if you don't use it, you lose it. And if there's a massive tax surplus at the end of the year, that looks really bad, because then it looks like you're stealing money from the people and you don't need to. So then governments start throwing money around when they have a surplus to be like, oh, we need to justify the level of taxes we have to make sure that we keep those same taxes next year, because you never know.
CNC grant before joining the SNJV, but none during their time on the board. Shiro Games received one grant in 2013, and we couldn't confirm any others.
So,
Master of the TDS says we might have to make a follow-up video after what happened today, if we have time, mind you. I could imagine. I know these take a lot of time to put together. So again, shout out to you, man.
technically clean, but only by comparison.
He doesn't disprove the pattern, he just didn't trigger it, which in this case makes
Vlad the Dragon says, tell me about it. I work for the state. It was sickening how much waste I saw. Full storage containers of Forester gear being chucked. Wouldn't even distribute it.
him the outlier.
When only 2 people out of the entire board don't raise questions, that's a pattern in and of itself.
And now we come to Gregory Carreau, COO of Asobo Studio.
Wait, I don't remember him being in the original list.
Yeah, that's because we almost missed him. His LinkedIn doesn't mention the FNJV.
Think about that for a second. Why would you have your LinkedIn and not mention it unless you're trying to hide it? Think about that.
But he's listed on their board page, so we dug deeper.
And what did we find?
3 CNC grants awarded to Asobo Studio.
Oh, of course he's
One
not going to
in
have it on his LinkedIn.
2013
He doesn't
for
want ties to it. He just wants the money.
Super Farm, another in 2013 for Arapaho, and a third in 2016 for The Plague, all before he became COO in 2019.
So technically, the grants were awarded before he was COO, but not necessarily before he was on the board.
Exactly. We couldn't confirm when he joined the FNJV board, so there's a gray area. But at minimum, his studio received significant government funding before he...
I got to be honest, TDS, you were more than fair with your assessment. Like, you could have got even harder at these people. So props to you for keeping the gloves on with it.
publicly listed any board affiliation.
That's it, right? That's all the names you found?
That's all the confirmed ones. We focused on the board members we could directly link to CNC funding, but there are others with vague histories, silent partners, or studios that don't disclose much of anything.
And even with just the confirmed ones, this isn't pocket change.
Not even close. Between their companies, pet projects, and affiliated organizations, the total amount of CNC grant money awarded to FNJV board members and their companies comes out to €3,591,950,
which converts to $3,882,306 US.
That is disgusting. That is disgusting. I'm like at a loss for words right now. And this is the second time I've seen this video today. And I'm blown away.
And that's using a conservative exchange rate.
8 confirmed board members. 2 got grants before joining. 1 had unclear overlap. 5 received them while already serving. Some once, some repeatedly, all connected, all trusted to help decide where.
And that's, by the way, these are 12 people that decide where that near $4 million goes. 12 people, $4 million. Now, I don't know about the size of these studios, if they have like 3 people working at them, 1 person, 12 people. I don't know the size of the studios, but if they're very small studios, you're supporting all of these people and everyone working at every game studio 100% paid for their entire annual salary without selling a copy of a game. So please, I postulate to you, what motivation do you have to sell a game? All you need to do is put a game out. That's not how this is supposed to work. That doesn't push the industry forward. That full reverse.
Where the money goes.
Maybe they followed the rules. Maybe they recused themselves. Maybe this is just how it works in the industry.
But if the people deciding who gets the money are also the ones getting it, how is anyone on the outside supposed to compete?
It's
right there, by the way, that's the best point you make in this entire video. If all the people on the inside are just funneling all the tax money to themselves and deciding where it goes within their own bubble, how are other indie studios supposed to get access to what the whole point of this granting was in the first place? It's one big club and they're not in it. It pisses me off.
It's like a closed circle, and everyone else is locked out.
Yep.
We're not saying it's fraud. We're not saying it's illegal. We're saying this is what it looks like when the system funds itself. One last thing before we go. We still can't confirm that Wings Interactive ever received CNC money directly.
But one of their funded games, we can.
December 2020, Don't Forget Me, developed by the Moon Pirates. One of the studios listed on Wing's now erased games page on their website received 90,000 euros in
That's $100,000 almost.
CNC funding.
So even if Wings didn't cash the checks themselves, their network still did.
And that's the point. It's not just about the money, it's about the machine.
And if this is happening in the French government, who's to say it isn't happening elsewhere?
And if it is, how many more systems are quietly rigged
Oh, hold on a
to
second.
reward the one?
This is happening even if
The studios listed on
Moon Pirates called Don't_Forget_Me.
Wing's now erased games page on their website received 90,000 euros in CNC funding.
So even if Wings didn't cash the checks themselves, their network still did.
And that's the point. It's not just about the money, it's about the machine.
And if this is happening in the French government, who's to say it isn't happening elsewhere?
And if it is, how many more systems are quietly rigged to reward the ones already inside?
I mean, fantastic video. First off, please, again, mods, if you don't mind sharing Master of the TDS in the chat. This was a banger video. And I mean, they've had a lot of good ones. This one, really, really good job.